Hey everyone, your friendly neighborhood Pants is back with another Summer's video. Today I want to showcase 7 free-to-play and versatile offenses to help improve your performance in Siege. I made one of these videos in the past showing 10 of these kinds of offenses, completely free-to-play and versatile, as in they can be used against multiple meta defenses, but that was quite a while ago, so I figured let's make an updated one and bring it up against more modern teams. Honestly, that previous video, some of those teams still work just fine, so we'll talk about how to rune these teams and where you can use them. So this first one I'm going to show you is probably my favorite 4-star counter to like damn near anything right now. I say damn near anything, it's like almost solely kinkies that I see in 4-star Siege lately. I am seeing some Harmonia Vigor Royd, Harmonia Vigor Jubel, but for the most part it's just like people have kinky and they run kinky because he's good. So Kamoon, Aloran, and Alucia just has an absurd amount of control that makes it good into all of these. I currently have 3 Kamoons, 2 Lorens, 3 Alucias, so if I build a 3rd Loren, I could run a 3rd one of these. I'm using this team all the time. The key here is accuracy. So I'll have the runes of all the units just appear on screen as I'm talking, and you can check out the builds. But you want Violent for sure. A Destroy set on Kamoon is helpful, but not necessary for the most part, because Lauren will land her defense break and her attack bar control, so you'll probably be fine, even if there's like a Molly or something. Destroy's just, you know, it's helpful, but I like the shield set. That way, if there's like an Orion, you can do partly shield Will, have Will on the Lauren, Will on the Alucia, and then shield on the Kamoon, because Kamoon's unlikely to die turn 1, and the other 2, which are more squishy, will have the shield Will benefit. So anyways, you can mix and match it. Kamoon's a little versatile as far as runes go. I like Violent Shield, Violent Destroy, Despair Shield, Despair Will, anything like that. As far as turn order goes, the main thing is to have Lauren move before Kamoon, because you want her to set up the defense break for Kamoon to do the damage. Alucia's turn order doesn't matter quite as much, but I would recommend trying to get people at least to the 239 breakpoint. You have the speed lead, so if your rune quality is there, try to get them to the 286. That's how I have my people runed. They're all at the 286 breakpoint, with Lauren being the fastest on the team. One thing I would certainly prioritize over getting to 286 speed is the accuracy. Having 85 accuracy on the Lauren and on the Alucia is what makes this team super good, in my opinion. Alucia's sleep will always land, assuming you don't glance, which I guess the most common wind unit is Triana, but on every other unit, she'll be landing the sleep every time, regardless of resistance. The freeze will miss occasionally, but if you have that max accuracy, it'll land frequently enough for you to really appreciate it. Lauren, in the same way, that defense break, the slow debuff, and the attack bar decrease will land a whole lot with 85 accuracy. One thing to note is with Lauren, you'll more often than not be using her skill 1 because the slow debuff is so good. Skill 2 strip is nice, but you don't always need it, because a lot of the defense units like Triana, like Harmonia, which you're watching behind me currently, is they only have 1 turn immunity, so it's not like it lasts very long. I guess you might see some betas occasionally. You might be wanting to use it for stripping a vigor, speed buff, or that kind of thing. But for the most part, just getting that slow debuff will make you cycle past these guys so much, and they'll hardly move. But the goal is control 2 units, have Kamoon kill the other one, control 1 of the units, have Kamoon kill the second one, and then 3v1, and you'll be solid. Anyways, Kamoon, Lauren, Alucia, really sick. Like, I bring it everywhere. It's absurd. Keep using it, and having a lot of success with it, so give it a try. So I know I'm late to this one, but Tractor Wendy Lulu still to this day remains one of the best skilled in Siege offenses you can possibly make. It's got a wide variety of use cases, so much so that there was a time that people were calling for us to nerf Lulu and Wendy. I mean, they probably still are, I don't know. The fact that you have 2 monsters that can't be defense broken paired with one of the best possible supports is just kind of nutty. They both deal a significant amount of damage too, with additional damage artifacts, and it's just really solid. I have seen it lose, and when I see it lose, it's usually because it's brought into a team they shouldn't have brought it into, or because it's runed very poorly. So let's talk about the runes. First thing is, like I said a second ago, is additional damage on your artifacts. So I think one misconception with Wendy is to just build them as a straight up HP tank, which isn't bad into certain defenses, especially like Karkano ones. But I think in a lot of use cases, you can have them like plus 20, 25k HP and prioritize a little more attack, and then get additional damage by attack and additional damage by speed. So he's actually packing a punch when he hits. Tractor, also you want high defense, high HP, and I have mine on Violent. Violent isn't necessary, I just really like it because, like, in cases where you're hitting Carcano, Molly, and Triana, you kill the Carcano fairly quickly, and then you're stuck hitting this Molly Triana and it takes forever, and the Violent is just really helpful. I find the Violent helpful in a lot of cases, but if you don't have, you know, good Violent runes for him, he doesn't need it. I know Howdy Man, when he still played the game, his tractors were just on broken sets. Now they did have Destroy, but that was about it. It was like Destroy Broken or Destroy Guard Broken, something like that. He doesn't need Violent, he doesn't need Vampire. Lulu is plenty good to keep him healed up. Main thing is a whole lot of defense, fair amount of HP, I'd say like at least plus 15k, and then additional damage by defense as much as you can possibly get on him. Lulu, you want 100 resistance if you can do it. I have mine 98, which I wish I could get a couple more. That'd be helpful, but it is what it is. Another thing I'll say is additional damage by HP isn't that great on Windy or on anyone in this particular case, because these defenses are usually runed on Destroy as well. So as your HP is getting destroyed, your additional damage by HP is getting weaker and weaker. So it's better to do additional damage by defense or additional damage by attack or additional damage by speed, which is particularly good since Windy is buffing your speed. One other thing I'll say is to have them all at the 239 speed breakpoint. That is, I want to say, crucial in the higher ranks because defenses are almost certainly going to be at the 286. So if you're hitting someone that's at the 286 and you're at like the 205 or lower, in addition to the crazy violent procs that they're going to have, you're getting lapped like mad. So if they're by default, just by the speed, going to be taking more turns than you, they're going to be taking a whole lot more turns than you. So make sure to get them to the 239 breakpoint with decent stats, and I think you'll see a whole lot of success with this comp. So give it a shot. So one last thing I think I should share is a different offense you can run is Tractor, Juno, and Lala into these Nora type defenses. You see lots of like Molong, Nora, Savannah, Theo, Nora, Savannah, or Cigars, you know, the Savannah alternative. But basically ever since Nora's last buff, she saw, you know, quite a bit of use, and Juno is a hard counter, and Lala is better than Lulu in this particular case because you have that AoE cleanse and then a whole bunch of skill ones to follow up the dots, as you can see right there. So anyways, with your runes, you don't necessarily need to have multiple sets for all your different howls. You can just have the one set and move it onto your Lulus, your Lalas, your Shushu, that kind of thing. So I use Shushu against like Martina, Shayna, Triana, for example, as a light tank, and I just move over the same exact rune set that I use on Lulu. So that's just a little tip and trick and another offense I figured I'd share. All right, so this next one I'm calling 1.67 teams, which I know is a little awkward, but the math behind that is each individual unique monster is 1/3 of a full team, and I'm using 5 unique monsters, so 5 times 1/3 is 1.67, or 1 2/3. The monster that's getting repeated here is Garo, which is the key to both of these teams. So it's Garo, Draco, Kali, and Garo, Rauk, Verd. Garo having 30% speed lead, giving you generally a higher speed lead than whatever defenses are out there. The only higher one that I know of is the 33 lead, which is relatively rare. You know, it's for, Sylvia and Geldnir, 2 LD units that, you know, nobody owns except for the higher ups, but whatever. In addition, you have Draco, which generally has a higher base speed than a lot of defense units. Like Bastet comes to mind with a 99 base speed compared to Draco's 106. So it's a relatively easy means of outspeeding and sniping down one unit, so that then it's 2v3, and you'll have immunity on your team with Draco, and, you know, they will have trouble getting through your immunity, through all your buffs, through Garo's passive, to win that 2v3. In addition, Kali's got invincibility to protect herself. It's just really, really great. Garo, Rauk, Verd in a similar fashion. You outspeed with Rauk, have a 100 crit rate on your Verd. It's very easy to speed tune since Verd is boosting your attack bar by 40%. The only thing tricky with here, I think, is Rauk's runes, because people will often, you know, just try and outspeed. And if you just try and outspeed, you might have your Rauk runed on like speed, defense, flat HP or something, because that's your fastest set. But now your Rauk is not dealing any damage, so you're totally reliant on your Garo and Verd's damage. So that can be a little tricky if you don't have a good Swift set for your Rauk. Whereas Draco is more versatile as far as your Swift sets go. He doesn't necessarily need high damage for that team to work. But anyways, you can use this all over the place. Outspeed, snipe the main threat, or snipe the revive if it's like a Triana that you're hitting, something like that. And then go on to the next one, and you'll be good. Build multiple Garo Dracos, certainly worth it. Multiple Cullies is worth it. Multiple Rauks, multiple Verds is for sure worth it. You can have 2 Verds and RTA even, you know, like 1 Triple Revenge, 1 Violent Revenge to pair with Leo or something. Wide variety of ways to rune Verd up in RTA, so you can have multiple rune for different scenarios. Anyways, that's this one. So this one is a ton of fun that I've been giving more love recently. It is Grim Reaper and Dark Witch team with the Dark Witch 2A making this really viable. So you have the AoE strip from her in addition to a beneficial effects block, and then she has dots and stuns. The Dark Grim Reaper, again, dots and stuns, and then the Fire Grim Reaper doubling the damage of your dots. I think one particular thing is like there's lots of vigors on defense, and I think this is more of a 4-star defense counter to things. So have your Soth, I believe that's his name, the Fire Grim Reaper, runed relatively tanky and some water reduction. You also need 85 accuracy on the Witch. If you can do Despair, I think Despair is really nice. But yeah, the key is, I think, keeping that Fire Grim Reaper alive. So have him relatively tanky, water reduction, and double will is really, really solid. For Gina, I like Despair Will. Despair just gives her a little extra utility to, you know, guarantee some stuns. She might not land her sleeps, might not land some dots, but maybe she lands the Despair stun, which doesn't care about resistance, you know. Then you have the Dark Grim Reaper. I think Violent is just insane because he already has lots of turn cycling, so giving him even more turn cycling is just disgusting. Like a single Violent proc from him will often just win the match for you. I've had plenty of times where like the Soth does die, so I don't have the double dot damage, but everyone's stunned with 10 dots anyways, so it's just like there's nothing they can do anyways. Like I said, fun team. I don't use it too often in G3, but occasionally if the defense shows up and I think about it, I try to bring this team because it's cool. I've been using it more so in Guild War, but it's fun. All right, so this next one is Harmonia, Skogel, and Arnold. Arnold is fairly good into various Mo-Long defenses. Mo-Long is, you know, a relatively common defense. He's not great into the Mo-Long Wusa type defenses because Wusa puts up the shield, and so your skill 3 is less likely to do things, but that's where Harmonia and Skogel can come in and help out at least. The attack debuff is also really nice against monsters like Perna. Skogel, of course, dealing around 10 to 15k damage on every unit has always been good. Harmonia, try to get 100 resistance. I like Violent Nemesis better than Violent Will in a lot of cases because, again, I'm using this more so against Mo-Long teams, and the Nemesis can really come in handy there. The Arnold, you can do double Nemesis Will. The Skogel, you can do double Will Shield or Violent Will or Vampire Will. Different versions to run Skogel, but I think a lot of cases Violent will probably be best. The more pay-to-win offense that I use very frequently because it's insane is double Rock Akaris, which not everyone can use, and that's, you know, kind of the point of this video being free to play. But if you have these units, you should build this instead because it's a lot safer and a lot more usable into more scenarios. But Harmonia, Skogel, and Arnold can still be used all over the place, and I think particularly in G1 and below, which I think this video is more geared towards G1 and below people. So Harmonia, Skogel, Arnold, just build them thick, build them high resistance, give them will runes, and you should see some good success with it. So this next one is Fran, Delphoy, and Suiki, or Suki, or however you want to call them, Suki. The Water Omnimusha. This team's kind of surprisingly good. I shouldn't say surprisingly good. I mean, double support Bruiser is, and probably always will be, good. Just 2 supports keeping someone alive while that person does all the damage and uses destroy runes and gets the win. Delphoy's buff was kind of insane. She is probably one of the best supports you can build right now. If you haven't seen my Delphoy video, highly recommend it. I think I showed this Fran Suki team in that video, and I found a lot of use cases for this offense, so figured I'll show it here too because it's a free-to-play team and good. It's really good. So really I could just say Delphoy XX and call that the team, but I don't want to do that. Again, I think 239 breakpoint is where everyone should be. Just rune at 239. Rune everyone you can at 239. You do have the 10% speed lead here, so if you have the rune quality, try to get them to 86 if you want. But main thing here is have Destroy on Suki, have Will on your Fran and Delphoy, Violent Will, and decent accuracy on the Delphoy. Everyone runes pretty tanky, and then for artifacts have some additional damage for the Suki, some additional damage by attack because he's boosting his attack all the time. And then you could also do damage dealt on elements is pretty good for him. Damage dealt on elements is probably underrated to the masses, but it's very good, particularly in Siege because, or particularly in Siege defenses, I should say, considering you aren't controlling those defenses and the AI is going to hit certain elements. So if you give them damage dealt on those certain elements, they're going to be hitting pretty hard. Goal is just keep your damage dealer alive and Oblivion the monsters that need to be Oblivioned, reduce the cooldowns of the monsters that need to be reduced cooldowns, have relatively high skill 1 accuracy, or just accuracy in general on the Suki, since he's the only defense break. I would say that's probably the most difficult thing as far as runes go, is getting accuracy on top of all the other stats. Having a good skill 1 accuracy artifact is beneficial for him. I think mine is like 20%, which helps him out because I don't have a ton of accuracy in his kits, which is unfortunate, but I do really like his speed, so I have it for that reason. But anyways, yeah, I bring it into Harmonia, Vigor, Roid, and different relatively common things in the current meta. So give it a try. Fran, Suiki, and Delphoid. You could probably switch up Suiki for one of the other Omnimushas too, like a Kaki or a Fuki, in case of whatever the defense might be. Probably work really well. It's just, I think Suki is probably the most versatile of the bunch because he buffs his own stats. Problem with Fuki is he's like damaging himself. So like if a Kamoon is on defense or a Karkano is on defense, which you'll probably see a bunch of Kamoons and Karkanos on defense, he just gets smacked like hella hard. And he's hurting himself on top of everything, so it's more difficult to keep him alive. You can also change up the supports. You could use Lulu. I'm using these two because I've already used Lulu, you know? Anyways, Fran and Delphoid seem to be a really good combination. You have two-turn immunity units, so you have almost constant immunity. You have double cleanse. You have the attack buff, which is sick for Suki. And yeah, it's good stuff. All right, so this last one is where the 0.33 comes in, just 1/3 of a team, and that's just Tessarion. The last time I made one of these videos, I did Jean, Vigor, Tessa, and really all I could say is just Tessa XX. Like literally pair Tessarion with anything and it's insane. Particularly 1 or 2 supports, kind of like the previous team where you have Fran, Delphoid, damage doer. In this case, you could do Fran, Delphoid, Tessarion, or Tessarion, Lulu, Jean, or Jean, Tessarion, Leo, or Jean, Tessarion, Annabelle, or Tessarion, Lulu, Leo. There's just like an endless combination of Tessarions. You could easily build 10 Tessarions and use all 10 every siege. Passive monsters just aren't going away, and there are very few Oblivion monsters. People have been using Tessarion, Delphoid a ton in combination together, so you have double Oblivion to go against like Nana defenses. It's just, he's like the best offense unit. It's a little unfortunate that he takes forever to summon, and I know people don't generally want to use devils on Ifrits, rather they just keep summoning more Ifrits, and so it just like takes forever. I don't know anyone with 10 Tessarions. That'd be kind of disgusting. I personally have 3, 2 of them max skilled, 1 is almost there. I just keep summoning Ifrits to make it happen. I probably won't build more than 3. Gotta have a little variety, you know? Don't want to build too many dupes, I guess. Tessa is just insane. He can be used literally anywhere. You can rune him a variety of ways, so I think Violent Destroy is probably the best. You can also do Violent Revenge, Violent Will, but certainly Violent. I will say, if you haven't found him yet on YouTube, but Cloud Tears, he's a guy in SSA, and he's just reached 1,000 subscribers, so you can show him some love. But I've seen him use Tessarion with Leo, and so it's like a 0 build Tessa, and that's kind of sweet. I haven't used that before. I usually have my Tessarion on a plus 124 build or something like that. It's plus 126 maybe, but 124 is to get into the 239 breakpoint, and I just keep moving those runes around. You could have a specific like Leo Tessa build because that's a popular combo. Leo's really good. I know Sean B has like 3 Leos. Leo is certainly another dupe you can keep an endless amount of, because like Savannah is one of the best defense units, so everyone has Savannah. And Leo is a pretty hard counter to Savannah, and so is Tessa. Those two together are just insane. Tessa, Leo, plus a support like Lulu, Riley, Delphoid. You'll find a lot of success. I say success weird, or I think I just said it weird right there. I don't give them high accuracy. I see a lot of people like prioritize the accuracy. I seem to land Oblivion plenty, so I'm not like too worried about having like 85 accuracy on them. I think 40-ish is good. So you can do like skill 2 accuracy on the artifact, additional damage. Damage reduction from water is good if you're bringing him against like a Molong. He already has self damage reduction, so you can, you know, couple that with the artifacts and he'll just take a punch like nobody else. The resistance lead is disgusting. I wish we had more Oblivion units. Well, I don't even know if I want to say that. Oblivion is like arguably the best debuff. It's like, well, I guess defense break. You can't compete with defense break, but Oblivion's like right below defense break, I think. It's an insane debuff. That's all for this video. If you have any free-to-play versatile offenses, I'd love to hear them. Feel free to share them in the comments, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for coming out. Bye. You know, if you don't land your skills, maybe you do land your despair, which, you know, is a good stunt. That was the dumbest thing I've ever said, I think. Shit. Small PP. Very small PP.